chapter 3. Now, like I said earlier, can you just remember the events? So far, there were two major events, like Yulan pointed out earlier. Yulan, can you just repeat those two events?
The marriage of Rukmani and Rukmani's first child.
Yes, marriage between Rukmani and Nathan, and the birth of their first child, Ira, right? And you can see that every chapter begins with a new development, right? The latest development we see is that Rukmani we see that she cannot conceive another child for some reason. She cannot conceive a child. Now she's scared, afraid that Ira will be the only child. Now, what's going on here? Now, why is she so scared that Ira will be the only child? She's missing a boy child, of course. She wants a boy child. What is the importance of a boy child in a society like that? Okay, now this is a discussion. You need to speak out, share your thoughts, ideas. So it will be more enriching, not just a one-sided conversation where I fill you with whatever nonsense I have to say. Okay? Any ideas, thoughts? Yulan, what?
A boy is the only method of income to a family.
Yeah, when we say a method of income, males are always considered the breadwinners of a family, right? Yes, in that way, yes. So a family needs a boy child in order to carry on the lineage, the family lineage, right? And also, like they call it taking the family name forward, taking it on, right? And of course, the breadwinner's role has to be performed by a boy in the absence of parents. And the next thing, a boy does not cost a dowry, right? He is a source of, bringing a bride and thereby bringing an income, somebody who could bring in more assets into the family. So because of all these things, a boy child is a necessity for an Indian family. So this is why she's so scared. And what is the thing we can relate to?
Gender disparity.
Yes, sometimes, or not sometimes, but the most important thing we can come across, we have to address is gender disparity, right? So you can note that down here, gender disparity. This is important because when you are writing essay type answers, you need to always give them evidences in the form of quotations, right? So if you don't pick the suitable quotation for the suitable theme, that will be counterproductive, right? So let's move on to the next one. My mother, whenever I paid her a visit, would make me accompany her to the temple, and together we would pray and pray before the deity, imploring for help until we giddy. But the gods have other things to do. They cannot attend to the pleas of every suppliant. Right. So basically, we can see that the cultural aspect of this society, right? A suppliant is a person making a humble or earnest request, plea, especially to somebody like God, right? So what we can see here is that she's accompanying her mother when she goes to visit her to cure this so-called barrenness, right, of Rukmani. And another theme shows up here, the cultural aspect, Indian traditions, the traditional aspect. Now, of course, you see that we are addressing modernity, and the other side of modernity, the other side of the coin is tradition. So this is an example of Indian traditions, as you can see here. Right. When Ira was nearing 6, my mother was afflicted with consumption, tuberculosis, and was soon so feeble that she could not rise from her bed. Yet in the midst of her pain she could still think of me, and one day she beckoned me near and placed in me my hand, a small stone lingam, symbol of fertility. Now, obviously, you may have heard of this lingam, that is a Tamil word. Even sometimes it's borrowed in Hindi. A little stone that is being worshipped in Hindu culture, right? And you can see in terms of language, this is a direct Tamil or Hindi borrowing, right? This is a direct Tamil/Hindi borrowing. So when you are commenting on the language, these things are important. Note that down as well. Direct Hindi/Tamil borrowing. So what is the point in discussing these elements of language? So what's the big deal about borrowing things from Hindi, things from Tamil language? What is the effect it has on the narrative overall?
To
You learn.
increase the realisticness that it is
Exactly.
an Indian story.
Exactly, very good. Yes, like Tarushi pointed out, it increases the authenticity. Authenticity means the originality of the narrative, because this is considered an Indian novel, an Indian story. So when you put in such words, right, the language heightens the authenticity of the narrative. That is what you can say. So these things are very important. Rest easy, I said you will recover. She did not. No one expected she would, but she lingered for a long time. In her last months, my father sent for a new doctor who had settled in the village. Nobody knew when he came from where he came from, or who paid him. But there he was, and people spoke well of him, though he was a foreigner. As for my father, he would have called in the devil himself to spare my mother any suffering.
So it was in a house of sorrow that I first met Kennington, whom people called Kenny. He was tall and gaunt, with a pale skin and sunken eyes, the color of a kingfisher's wing, neither blue nor green. I had never seen a white man so close before, and so I looked my fill.
Right. This is the first time, this is another important incident in the chapter. The first time she meets Kenny. Okay. So the first impression she gets of Kenny, like everybody speaks well of him, right? And nobody knows who pays him, but still he's there. Nobody knows where he came from. He's still there, right? And her father, what was the attitude of her father towards this white man? Yulan, what do you think?
He didn't like foreign people.
Yeah, he didn't like foreigners, especially white people, right? Why doesn't he like them? Probably because they colonize the country and they share a colonizer-colonized relationship, right? So that could be the reason. That is the predominant, the understanding of whites. So they are the suppressors, so nobody likes them. Okay, moving on. Yulan, can you read the rest of that, the paragraph?
Yeah, teacher. When you have done with staring, he said coldly, perhaps you will take me to your mother. I started, for I had not realized I was goggling at him, startled too that he should have spoken in our tongue. I will show you, I said, stumbling in my confusion. My mother knew no man could save her, and she did not expect miracles. Between her and this man, young though he was, lay mutual understanding and respect, one for the other. He told her no lies, and she trusted him. He came often, sometimes even when he was not summoned, and his presence, as much as the powders and pills he made her take, gave my mother her ease. When she died, it was in the same way, without a struggle, so that although we grieved for her, our hearts were not torn by her suffering.
Okay. Now, what can you say about the first interaction between Rukmani and Kenny? What kind of a man is Kenny? Right. Rukmani unknowingly stared at him for some time. And what was his response? Okay, after you take your fill, let me know and take me to your mother. Now you can see that he has somewhat of a prickly exterior. Prickly means a bit cold, bit rude, right? That kind of an exterior, that is what he appears to be. But you can see between Kenny and Rukmani's mother, there's mutual understanding and respect. Something we normally don't see between the colonizer and the colonized. In this case, the colonizer is Kenny, representing the colonizing community, and the colonized community is represented by Rukmani's mother. So this is somewhat unusual for us. We have never seen in this, as far as the novel is concerned, a colonizer showing sort of a respect to the colonized community, right? So in that way, what can we gather? What is the writer trying to show us?
That every person is not bad as we thought.
Yeah, every person is not as bad as we think. And there's something else. She wants to challenge the stereotypical notion about colonizer, the relationship between the colonizer and the colonized. We have a very stereotypical understanding about white people being the colonizer in these kind of novels, right? We always assume that they will take the upper hand, they will suppress the community, right? That kind of an assumption. So that is what we call a stereotypical assumption. But in this case, we see that this is not the stereotypical relationship that we normally see in normal scenario situations, where as far as the colonized and the colonized are concerned. Get what I'm saying? So the bottom line is that this interaction challenges the stereotypical assumptions we have about the relationship between the colonizer and the colonized. Can you write that down? Now, Rukmani's mother passed away calmly without any suffering, thanks to Dr. Kenny, right? Before I left for my village, I told him that for what he had done, there could be no repayment. Remember only, I said, that my home is yours and all in it. He thanked me gravely, and as I turned to go, he raised a hand to stop me. There is a look about you, he said. It lies in your eyes and the mark is on your face. What is it? Would you not grieve too, I said, if the woman who gave you birth was no more than a handful of dust? It is not that alone. The hurt is of longer standing. Why do you lie? I looked up and his eyes were on me. Surely I thought my mother has told him, for he knows. But as if he guessed my thoughts, he shook his head. No, I did not know. Tell me. I held back. He was a foreigner, and although I no longer stood in awe of him, still the secret he had been long locked up in my breast and would not come out easily. I have no sons, I said at last heavily. Only one child, a girl. What do you think about this character, Kenny? The way he interacts with Rukmani?
He's a bit friendly with people. He can understand other people's feelings and emotions.
Exactly. In order for him to be able to understand others' feelings and others' emotions, he should be empathetic, right? That means he's a sensitive person, despite the fact that he's a little somewhat rude in the way he behaves. Not rude, actually, he's too direct, right? So he's a sensitive person. He understands Rukmani's emotions immediately.
So, teacher, can we take it under appearance and reality?
Yes, you can actually. Appearance and reality as a theme, yes. And let's see whether it's strong enough to stand alone as a theme, appearance and reality. If you can detect the same theme elsewhere means it should be at least several occasions throughout the chapters, we can have it as a standalone theme. If not, it could become a sub-theme, right? Anyway, you can use it to comment on Kenny's character.
Once I had started, the words flowed. I couldn't stop myself. Why should it be? I cried. What have I done? Please. Am I not clean? Have I not born a girl so fair? People turn to gaze when she passes. That seemed too much. She shortly. I waited. If he wishes to help me, he can. I thought. So much faith I had in him. My heart was thumping out a prayer. Come and see me, he said at last. It is possible I may be able to do something. Remember, I do not promise. My fears came crowding upon me again. I had never been to this kind of doctor. He suddenly became terrifying. You are an ignorant fool, he said roughly. I will not harm you. I slunk away, frightened of I know not what. I placed even more faith in the charm my mother had given me, wearing it constantly between my breasts. Nothing happened. At last I went again to him, begging him to do what he could. He did not even remind me of the past.
Okay, the way he reacts to Rukmani when she just basically crowded with fear. Okay, you are an ignorant fool. Like I said, he's very direct, right? But at the same time, he didn't mention what happened after she went to visit him. Like he doesn't hold grudges, right? Begging him to do what he could, he did not even remind me of the past. He's not a man like that. Okay, next one. Yulan, can you read this part?
Ira was 7 when my first son was born, and she took a great interest in the newcomer. Poor child, it must have been lonely for hell all those years. Kali's and Janaki's children were much older, and as for Kunti, she preferred to keep aloof. Her son was a sturdy youngster and would have been a good playmate for my child. But as the years went by, her visit to our house grew less and less frequent until at last we were meeting as strangers. My husband was overjoyed at the arrival of a son, not less so my father. He came, an old man, and a mile by cart from our village to hold his grandson. Your mother would have been glad, he said. She was always praying for you. She knew, I
Right.
told him.
Now you can see that the communal bond between the families, the two families, right? That is a very unique feature of these kind of cultures. Since we are talking about the Indian culture, this is a very crucial aspect of the Indian community, that they always stick together. Kali came frequently, but afterwards her visits became very less. But nevertheless, they still like had that bond. Whenever somebody is in need, they all get together. Whether it's a moment of joy or suffering, they all get together. For example, another example here, her father came to her village to see the boy. So you can see that that community is extremely attached, right? It's not an individualistic community like what we see in European or the Western countries like the United States or UK. Okay, so that can come under the theme of tradition. The communal bond can come under the theme of tradition. As for Nathan, nothing would do, but the whole village should know, as if they didn't already. Now, on the 10th day from the birth, he invited everybody to feast and rejoice with us in our good fortune. Kali and Janaki both came to help me prepare the food, and even Kunti Kunti's reserve crumbled a little as she held up my son to show him to our visitors. Right. This is the communal aspect, like what I said earlier, the communal bond, right? And you can see I have highlighted certain words here. Bulbul Tara. Again, this is another Hindi borrowing. This is an instrument. They play basically in Punjab, and that is again a direct Hindi borrowing. So we had discussed two things in terms of this paragraph here. First of all, their communal bond, and second of all, the language, direct Hindi borrowings, right? This is important. The person I had wanted most to see at our feast was not there. Who is this person? I had gone to seek him, but he was not to be found. He goes and comes, they told me. Nobody knows where or why. So I had to be content without him. But contentment cannot be forced, and Nathan noticed my preoccupation. Who is she talking about?
Kenny?
Exactly, Kenny, the doctor. He is the one who cured, she was actually not barren, infertile, but the long absence of a child, right? He was the one who treated her. So she's great for him. Sometimes you might wonder whether there's any interest, like sort of a romantic interest as far as Rukmani is concerned, but that is not the case, right? Kenny genuinely likes to help people. That can be seen later on in the novel as well, right? Okay. What now? He said. Are you not happy? Would you have the moon too, as Kali would have wings? this is the important part. Now everybody has secrets, right? So she never told Nathan that Kenny treated her to cure her so-called brief period of infertility, right? And on the other hand, you realize, you learn later on in the novel that Nathan also hid something from Rukmani. What was it? Can you remember?
That he had an affair with Kunti.
Exactly. Now, both of them share secrets. Both of them have, not share, both of them have secrets. Okay, so we can't say that this is the perfect ideal relationship, but actually these kind of limitations make the relationship to be more realistic, right? This is not the kind of relationship we see in like in happily ever after movies, like in Disney cartoons and things like that, right? The relationship is very realistic, and these limitations, the secrets they hold, the secrets they keep, although that shows there's a certain limitation, that makes things more realistic. Can you write this down?